Welcome to the post show, guys. This was a heavy one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll discuss the grand details and can debate the whether or not I'm strictly right in this. And let me know what you think, Blake. I think Derek lost.
I think anyone can agree that Wallstrom lost here.
Yeah, but maybe not in the way you thought. But what do you think, Blake? Blake's the ultimate arbiter here. You know what my condition for success was.
Derek lost.
Derek lost, yeah.
Damn, did I miss out on the truth TM?
No, you could not find it in your heart to forgive your friend.
I see. Very interesting.
I wanna hear your thoughts, Derek.
It was heavy. I didn't expect it to go where it went. I think for most of the session, my understanding was my win condition is to get Pashenk back to town alive.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was thinking that, all right, I should figure out what happened with the opium and with Macaw so that Wallstrom has something to do after this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I would say altogether that I had a 5-6-1-6 split amongst those priorities.
Fair, yeah.
But by the end, I think I was just more into the role-playing side of things.
Yeah. And that was kind of the point. I wanted you to be thinking that you're trying to save his life because that was where your character would be at, you know?
Mm-hmm. Of course.
And the Fox encounter was always going to be the point at which I finally announced, like, no, this person's dead.
Right.
Just don't know it yet. So yeah, from the very beginning, I never had a plan for a way you were going to save Pashenk. If you'd rolled really well on the leg thing, he might have survived, and that would have been really interesting, but boy, oh boy, did you not.
No, I didn't. When that happened, I thought you'd say, like, it was gonna, like, set the venom on fire inside him.
That's what I thought, too.
Like, the burning agent would be, like, in his veins, you know? So it would be like those coal seams in Australia that burn for, like, 100 years underground.
That's what I was joking about in the clapped away part, but no, that would be ridiculous.
I don't know. My first thought was like, all right, well, he can't just burn up and die right now. So, what is the blood gonna spray out of his leg and catch on fire on him or something?
Yeah. No, I just went with yeah, sure, you amputated his leg, but
Indeed.
Yeah, and it was interesting. The success condition was finding some form of forgiveness or acceptance for Pashenk.
I see.
And I don't think it's an interesting one, too. I don't know if he deserved it.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say he deserved it, but I'm also not sure I'd say he's to blame.
Yeah, like, you can understand what drove Pashenk to his actions.
The thing that made me almost consider this a success was when you said, all right, my next article is going to be against fire and brimstone preachers.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that's an identification by Wallstrom that this was, to some degree, outside of Pashenk's control, and that he was, in a way, a victim.
Oh, he was definitely a victim.
Yeah.
But I think Wallstrom's mentality here would also have been that, like, Pashenk still did commit the crimes.
Oh, absolutely. And he did commit the crimes. I don't think he was by any means a hero or I think he was at best sympathetic.
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
And it kind of comes down to the thing where, you know, like part of what I was thinking about when I was writing this is I don't know if he deserved the forgiveness, but I think the forgiveness was still the right thing to do.
Yeah, in some way, I kept expecting you to like have the gun leveled at his head. Can you do this for me? Of course, my friend.
That would have also been an interesting ending. I mean, but I think it's also. I mean, I'm kind of talking for Velstrom here, just because I've been thinking about this exact moment for weeks now.
Of course. Go on.
But like, I think Velstrom was very justified in not finding that forgiveness in that moment. But I think to some degree that moment will also kind of echo back to Velstrom throughout the rest of their life, and they'll. And that's where the loss comes in for me. I think Velstrom would have walked away with a cleaner conscience if they'd found more forgiveness.
Yeah, the cleanest thing Velstrom could do for himself at that point was to claim forgiveness, even though he couldn't muster it.
I don't know. There's something doubly haunting for the character, in my mind at least, of lying to another man on his deathbed.
That goes both ways for me. I totally agree with you. It's like, it's the perfect lie in that it can never be refuted, and that is a type of cruelty in and of itself. But it's also a kindness to not. It's a kindness that he is taking on a certain degree of pain to ease Pawshanks.
Like, Velstrom definitely has, like, some, like, feelings of dissonance in himself when he says that, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm lying right now. Like, I really wish that Pawshank could live and we could talk more about this because I can't forgive what's been done. But, like, when someone's on the deathbed and you can't go for, like, honest forgiveness and your options are, like, honest but, like, cold rejection, or, like, forgiveness as a lie, I think Velstrom would opt into the latter.
Yeah. And like I said, I'm really...
I would opt into the latter. Yeah, go on.
Oh, I mean, I'm not saying... I honestly don't know which I would do. I think it really depends on the person and the situation.
That's true.
I'll be honest, I don't think I could pull the trigger. I'd really want to, and I think I would regret not pulling the trigger, but in the moment, I don't think that I could.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know if I could.
Yeah.
I think it depends heavily on the person and the circumstance. Like, if it's clear, agonizing pain, then that might tip the scale a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like... Yeah.
Like, I support euthanasia for, like, patients in, like, crippling pain with no chance of recovery.
Absolutely. And
But, like, at the same time, like, being the one to do it,
And with a gun.
Yeah.
like that's no lethal injection.
Yeah. Like, it's not just like, let's up the morphine levels, It's like, that person, like, I think the biggest thing that might prevent me from being able to do it is just knowing that I'd have to see the effect of that,
Right.
Yeah.
Because, like, bullets, like bullet wounds that kill quickly do not leave pretty corpses.
Bullets are messy in general.
Yeah. Ugh.
Indeed.
I have been hunting, and I have
Yeah, I was gonna say,
directly seen the effects.
Blake has received the effects of
Yeah.
This is also true.
minor bullet wounds.
The Deadlands Player's Handbook describes the default ammo for the Cult Peacemaker as lead-jacketed hollow point, which I think is the one that, like,
Yeah, hollow points
splatters
split.
open on
That's
impact.
messy.
Yeah, what hollow points do is they flower open on impact and do very nasty things. I'm not going to go... I was going to go into some more detail, and then I realized that this is not the venue for that. And if you do want to know more about hollow points and their effects, you can go
There are
find...
plenty of demonstrations with watermelons.
Exactly. You can go find sources on the internet that will inform you on that, but I'm not going to bring that here without a warning.
Right. I also thought it was interesting because, like, I think in the Weird West, Wild West, that sort of setting, people are a bit more brutal, right? And, like, they have an easier time taking that kind of measure. Like, today, I don't think I could amputate a bud sled to save their life. And that feels pretty bad, but, like...
Yeah. Interestingly,
It's a terrifying
I think I would have
prospect.
relatively little problem with the amputation, but I would have huge problems with the execution.
I'm the
I
other
don't
way
know.
around.
I almost feel like the execution would be easier for me than amputation.
Really? Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, fair. I guess like I have this is getting very philosophical and less roleplay, which I'm fine with. But we should spin it back at some point. Like death specifically always has such finality to me. And I guess like yes, chopping off someone's leg is also a permanent transformation, but not in the same way. Like if you chop someone's leg off, they can still live a full complete life, but you are deciding the entirety of the rest of that person's future by killing them. You know exactly what they will do, and it's nothing.
I think, to bring it back to roleplay somewhat, in this situation, I think the execution is easier because he is cognizant enough such that you can offer him the choice.
That's a good point as well, because the amputation was also a risk. You didn't know if it was necessary or if it would help.
Exactly.
So
Like at that
that's-
point, it
yeah.
might have just been like just the worst option for Pashinks.
That's actually totally
life
fair.
going
And I
forward.
think the only reason I am more confident with the amputations is that I've done a bunch of like lifeguard trainings and first aid courses and stuff, and so I feel confident that I'd be able to identify when the amputation's necessary.
Yeah, I was the other way. Like I can't make that kind of judgment, and like Wallstrom couldn't make that kind of judgment.
But
It
the
was-
execution was clearly the only thing.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
especially because like Blake says, identifies Pashank makes that choice.
Yeah, he
right?
does. Yeah. No, so I think you're right. I think in this specific situation, the two challenges are in difficulty order. Do I amputate? Do I kill him? Or how do I kill him? Or whatever. But I think in general, I'd be more comfortable with performing an amputation than a mercy kill.
I don't know. I feel a little weird about generalizing things like that when each one, to me, seems incredibly case by case.
That's a very good point as well. And the ultimate thing here is we can talk about this all we want, and we actually have no idea what we would do under those situations.
Yeah.
That's
Hopefully
very
we
true.
don't find out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Facts. I know. Well, I know a little bit. I've been around someone. I have seen someone lose a piece of themselves.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I remember you telling that story.
Yeah, I was lifeguarding in a camp, and someone tried to catch the motorboat as it came into dock and lost the final third of their thumb.
Yoinks.
Yeah. It was honestly pretty funny. Like, not at the moment, obviously, but
In retrospect,
yeah, the dude has been so good-natured about it since that it is hard to not remember it humorously. To be fair, this was not one of the campers, this was another adult. So,
Oh,
it was
then
also
yeah, of course.
significantly less dramatic.
Yeah.
He came up to me and was just like, "So this is a problem," and I was like, "Yeah, that," and then so I'm like cleaning that off and trying to get that all fine, and someone walks up to me with the piece and goes, "What do I do with this?" And I was like,
Oh no.
What?
Ice now.
I was just like, "What is happening?" Yeah, I think the only thing that could have possibly gotten you an objective win from the point of you two standing there would have been literally just talking it out with him for the rest of the 10 minutes to see if there was some point that could be reached, point of reconciliation. To fully bring it back around to
Yeah.
RPGs. Put my foot
Of
down.
course.
What did you think in general, Derek? How did you like it as an experience?
It was gritty. I felt like I was Wallstrom, losing options, losing time. It was tense.
Dude, I knew the broad strokes of what was going to happen, and I was still on the edge of my seat.
Yeah. I don't know if either of you is familiar with the narrative of or has played Spec Ops The Line.
I am familiar with the narrative. I have it in my Steam library. I've been meaning to play it.
I would
Okay.
also unrelated, but or semi-related. Dude, the Brokeback Mountain was fairly strongly my inspiration for this. So when you made the Brokeback Mountain joke, I was like, "Fuck, he's on to me." Actually, that might have gotten cut. That might not be in the episode.
Maybe. Anyways, yeah, I think it was like that kind of experience. I wouldn't say it was enjoyable the way a conventional tabletop game is enjoyable, but it was an important and like weighty experience.
I think I know what you mean.
enjoyed it, but like that's coming from a person who enjoys psych horror.
And I think it's
Enjoys
also
what?
psych horror.
Yeah. Go on.
And I think I kind of get what you mean as well, where, like, enjoy, like, fits by the word's definition, but not by its implication, you know?
Yeah, like yeah. The experience kind of reminds me of how I like to put watching Evangelion. I
Yeah.
enjoy having had watched Evangelion.
Yeah, Evangelion's a trip, dude.
So much of a trip.
Great opening theme though. Also, damn,
yeah.
can't believe you both were weaves because I've been like keeping myself in the closet this whole time.
I think it would best to call myself a recovering weeb since I ruined myself with classic anime and JoJo's.
You're there. Okay.
I like and enjoy anime, but don't consume enough of it to I think to claim either proudly or derisively the term weeb.
Yeah, I'm at that
have
point
certainly
too.
lost all rights to it now that I watch basically everything dubbed.
I mean, some dubs are good. My
No, for
Hero
sure. I mean,
Academia's
I-
dub is thick.
No, you want to talk about good dubs? Black Lagoon. Oh my god.
Oh, you're an actual weave. My God.
Yeah.
Hey, recovering.
I think I've
course.
only seen I think yeah, the only animes I've seen are Evangelion, fucking
But that's like a big like turbo weave anime, dude.
That's true, and I did love it to death. That was also the first anime I saw.
Right.
That's not true. I saw One Punch Man first.
Great show.
Fucking
No, but if you want turbo weeb energy, I've seen in its entirety Legend of the Galactic Heroes.
Yeah, you're a turbo weeb. You're like a giga turbo weeb.
Yeah, it was after that I realized I can pretty much no longer watch modern anime until I hear confirmation that it's well written.
anime often just confuses me. It's like JoJo's especially, I literally cannot understand. Like I just, how do you, like you know, like you go to school and they teach you how writing and stories work, and they're like this is what a plot is, this is what an arc is, and here is how to write things so things make sense and you don't sound like a sugar hide ADHD 6-year-old. And then
Jojo
Araki
comes
just
along.
does all of the cocaine.
yeah, and it's
here
just
we're on a
like,
horse race across America.
yeah,
Also,
yeah.
there are
I haven't
superpowers.
read the manga yet. I'm just waiting for.
Or what
Part
about
six.
the pigeon in the chick's mouth from the second season of JoJo's, and Speedwagon
Baby
getting
Polnareff.
cut in half and dying for 10 minutes, and baby naked Polnareff.
It's a time.
Yeah, it was also after watching JoJo's dialogue that I tried to go back to other anime and saw the whole, like, over-explaining thing, and I was like, no, you can't do that, it doesn't work here, that's JoJo's thing.
I do feel like a lot of people don't understand that a lot of what's in anime is like forms of abstraction.
I think I don't understand that, but I'm willing to try.
Oh, I mean, it's like, you know how, like, when they're... It's kind of like what Blake was talking about with, like, they over-explain everything in JoJo's, and they're like, here's what's going on here, and, like, a single punch takes 30 seconds because they're explaining every aspect behind it. Like, we're not supposed to assume that that's actually taking that long, is my interpretation, as much as, like, we're using the fact that this is removed from reality to pack information into spaces that you normally wouldn't be able to fit it.
I see.
Like, maybe abstraction wasn't the right word, but it's like you're not supposed to think of it as a direct representation of reality, you know?
There's like a lot of time dilation, even in like without explanations, the way like a punch connects.
Yeah, and like the way people...
For sure.
And I feel like... So I take a lot of martial arts, and there's a lot of like martial artists are obsessed with like technique and practice, and like the idea of your body being a tool, and like you have to hone it, and that, like, you know, the whole concept of like a single punch practiced 1,000 times is better than 1,000 punches practiced once. And I feel like that leaks into a lot of the fighting scenes in anime, where they're like, in JoJo's especially, they're like, this punch developed by the ancient masters of the yada yada, and, you know, it just like goes into this huge explanation of like why this specific punch will shatter this mountain. And I feel like if you don't understand some of the, or if you don't have exposure to real people who think not like that, obviously, but in the way that is hyperbolizing, that it's hyperbolizing something that you don't even know exists, and it just doesn't make any sense.
Right, like without the context for what's being taken ad absurdum, like, you don't get it.
Yes, exactly.
And then there's Star Platinum proving that 1,000 punches practiced once can, in fact, be dangerous.
No, that's the opposite. He only has one punch, and he does it thousands of times.
That's fair.
Yikes.
Alright, well, this has been a very topically diverse post-show. I love it.
I
That's
agree.
certainly a way of putting it.
We should call this one Death in Anime.
Yes.
Death and anime.
Post-show 4, Death in Anime.
Pretty much.
Oh yeah, the title for this episode is A Poisoned Soul.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Wait, can the snake have bit him in the bottom of the foot?
Yeah, we can retroactively say that.
Excellent.
So if you're listening to this post show, notice that it is not the fleshy part of the calf, but the bottom of the foot that was bitten.
Exactly. I'm satisfied. Like John Lawrence.
Yeah.
Exactly. I was thinking of his shout at the end of
Yeah,
Ten
at the
Duel
end of the
Commandments.
Which is so poignant in so many ways.
Yeah, I was actually thinking more about that. And you know how we talked last time about like the separate outcomes of the duel and how those juxtapose, and how you went into the whole sexual feelings thing?
Mm-hmm.
So I was also thinking, and like it even goes a bit further than we discussed, because Hamilton tells Lawrence, like, do not throw away your shot, right?
Oh,
and that's like part of Hamilton's entire mentality
and he
of
does
like
tell
keep going
Philip
forward. And instead he tells Philip, like, essentially to throw away his shot, right?
Yeah.
Which is like against everything that Hamilton previously has done, because like up until that point he's always like, stick by your guns, haha.
Yeah.
You know? And that's where Philip dies.
And it's also the same pistols in all 3 duels.
Mm-hmm. I didn't know that, but that's amazing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we can assume. We know it's the same ones in the second and third duel, because he tells Philip, take my pistols.
Yeah, here's my gun.
And then Burr says Hamilton arrived with his guns.
Right.
I also, I don't know how, I listened to the soundtrack so many times, it wasn't until the second time I watched the show that I realized how strongly they were implying that the second duel was basically Hamilton's suicide. Third duel.
Huh. I get, like, on my second watch through, I got a lot of, like, Burr's foreshadowing that he would kill Hamilton, but I didn't pick that up in particular. Do you want to go into it?
So the thing that made me catch it was he goes, I didn't know this at the time, but we were near the same spot your son died. Is that why?
Ah.
And then he's
Oh,
talking
wow.
and then he's talking about how prepared Hamilton looks and how much Hamilton looks like he's intent to kill him and then doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think
Right, like, he was wearing spectacles.
yeah, look it up. They don't teach you this in your class, or they don't teach you this in your classes, but look it up. Hamilton was wearing his glasses. Why? If not to take deadly aim, it's him or me. The world will never be the same. And so I think what Burr's setting up is like is basically Hamilton baited me into it. You know, not without accepting responsibility, but like
Right.
like
Hamilton made it look like Burr had to shoot.
yes, exactly.
But there were also other reasons Burr would have felt like he had to shoot.
Yeah, I will not let this man make an orphan of my daughter.
Yep.
Well, but that's also
And I also like... go on.
that one only matters if he thinks Hamilton's gonna shoot. He only needs to worry about his daughter if he's certain that he might die here.
Exactly. Like, if they go in there with that understanding that, like, both of them will shoot skyward, like,
Also,
then they're fine.
I wasn't wise enough to see the world was wide enough for both Hamilton and me is a quote. He said that in a paper after the long after the duel, but he did say that the world was wide enough for both Hamilton and me.
Nutty.
Yeah. They also actually signed their letters to each other, your obedient servant, A. Ham and A. Burr.
Yep, I believe that of them both.
Also, the itemized list of 30 years of disagreements was an actual thing.
Perfect.
I love the tiny little real pieces of history that are just sprinkled throughout that.
Mm-hmm.
George Washington named a feral tomcat after him. That's true.
Yeah. Thomas Jefferson out here. No, Alexander Hamilton.
Yeah.
But I think Jefferson says that? Or Lafayette says that?
It's... No. It might be Lafayette. I don't think it is, though. It might be Lawrence.
Named his feral tomcat after him is the quote, right?
Yes. Named a feral tomcat. It's not an owned feral tomcat, then it wouldn't be feral.
I think it was her feral tomcat.
Well, it's...
Oh, Burr says it.
that makes sense.
Yep.
Also, there's... Burr plays Eliza's father. As well.
Huh.
So, like, I think there's at least one other example of it, but there basically, whenever Hamilton is, like, directly...
Philip Schuyler. Yeah, go on.
Yeah. Whenever someone is direct... You know what? It took me until this exact moment to realize that they named their son after Eliza's father. But a lot of the times when Hamilton is being, like, directly opposed by a member of the ensemble, that ensemble member is Leslie Odom Jr.
Nice. And I believe it.
Yeah. So, like, Philip Schuyler... like I said, I think there's one other example where it's, like, he's always just the person in between Hamilton and success.
Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of between Hamilton and success, I know Burr or Leslie Odom Jr. takes the center space on the banister or the balcony when Washington's summons is being passed, like, around and across the stage.
Yeah. Also, you know when they're doing that pass of the letter?
Yeah?
I'm pretty sure they all have their own copy of the letter. Like, there's some parts of it where it's very explicitly being passed hand to hand, but the part where they just do, like, the wave and it just, like, transitions person to person, I think they're just palming it.
Maybe. It is very smooth.
It's so smooth.
Yeah. And I've rewatched that bit a few times too.
Also, just the rotating floor is so amazing.
Oh yeah, the way it comes in like during the rewind bit
Yeah.
is nutty.
And especially during the stop motion, the stopped part of the duel, where they're just spinning round each other and the bullets slowly moving between them.
Yeah, and also like during Hurricane, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like Hurricane, I think it has the same, not baseline, but like, or maybe it is baseline, but the same like background like beat
Yeah.
as Yorktown. And like
Yes,
Yorktown
yes,
is the
yes.
first time they use that like technique of like things floating slowly as the disc turns. Like the world turned upside down.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. Yeah.
Like the world turned
Turned up-
upside
and
down.
all the chairs
and
and
like
stuff go into the air, and I
exactly.
love that. That is like breath.
And Hurricane is like the extension of that for Hamilton.
Yeah. I also really like the way that they use pretty set transitions.
They use what?
Pretty set transitions. Like, the set transitions are part of the choreography where, like, dancers, like we were just talking about, and like the world turn upside down, all of the chairs going into the air is so they can get them out of there for the next scene.
Yeah.
But it's like they make it part of the choreography, and like when Burr is standing on the table and he jumps and they whip the tablecloth out from under him and stuff.
It's very organic.
Yeah. And like, as someone that did tech and had to plan set transitions in high school, like, incredibly done.
Yeah, it's nutty for sure.
Also, I realized that, very, like, Lin-Manuel doesn't claim not to do this, but there's so many parts of Hamilton that are, like, ripped out of various hip-hop songs and stuff. And, like, every time I re-listen to it, I find another one where I'm just like, that's definitely the sound effect from, like, Simon Says or something.
Interesting. Pretty
Like,
cool.
Here, I think we can do this because, fair use...
Right, it's less than 10 seconds, we're fine.
That's a lie. That's
It's
not
more than
how
10 seconds.
that works. No, it's completely unrelated to time. That's just a myth.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, so fair use means if you are discussing the piece in such a way that listening to it is part of the discussion, like, hey, we're analyzing this song. Can we listen to that part so we can talk about it? Fair use. However, if we're just like, we're playing Star Wars, here's some Star Wars music, it doesn't matter how much of it we use, you can't.
I see.
It has to, like, somehow the playing of it has to be necessary for what we're talking about. So, I am going to demonstrate that there is a sound effect from the Reynolds pamphlet that is the same as another song.
Gonna write my way out.
Have you read the Reynolds pamphlet, dude?
No, I haven't.
It is ridiculous. Reynolds pamphlet.
Oh my god. Okay,
know
I'm
what?
looking at the PDF of it, and like they write their S's like F's.
Yes, also true. So it turns out that the sound effect is only in the stage version, so I'm not going to be able to demonstrate it. But if you've seen the show, go listen to Simon Says by Pharaoh Monch, and there is a sound effect in it that is literally ripped out of that song and piped in during the intro to Reynolds pamphlet for the stage version.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, thank you all for tuning in to our eclectic ramblings.
Yes.
This has
Thank
been
you all and farewell.
this
Right?
has been the episode for Post Show. Yeah, thank you all and goodbye.